Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we are talking about I'm just very picky with what I'll take. DoorDash driver says small orders are not worth the money, sparking debate. That's right, no tip, no trips going viral again. I love the succession of how often no tip, no trip is getting on the board. It's over and over and over again. We're just going to keep hammering at it until the message is received and people understand that we can't do bad orders anymore. Because if DoorDash ain't going to do it, we got to do what we can on our end. So with that said, I actually want to go over what this person is saying, how it actually is, and everything in between, because it looks like there's going to be heated debate on this one. So with that said, let's get started. A DoorDash driver is using TikTok to explain how he decides which food orders to deliver and which ones to decline, which is actually very important. You gotta have a standard for what you want to accept and decline. There's no more games, no more manipulations. It's just facts. The driver, known as the Gigdoctor, often posts on TikTok about his life as a full-time Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash driver in Oregon. In one recent video, he shared several examples of what kind of orders he declines to deliver. First off, I'm gonna leave his TikTok in the description so you can develop your own opinions. And can we appreciate for a second how awesome the name The Gigdoctor is? Like, can he get a PhD in side hustles at this point? In the video, he's in his car waiting for orders to arrive in his DoorDash app. Then he declines several orders that pop up on his screen. One of them is a $4.25 order with McDonald's, one is a $5 order with Walgreens, and another is a $3.75 order with Carl's Jr. All of which are trash orders, and I would have declined just as quickly. Good on him. The TikToker explains that he won't accept an order unless it's over $10 because it's not worth his time if they are any less. He sounds exactly like me. Oh my gosh. When you consider how much gas costs these days, and driving to the restaurant and having to wait for it, it's just not worth it unless you're getting paid a little bit more, he says in the video. I feel like a lot of people don't consider that. How much time it actually takes to get an order done. Because on average, we could get, like, if we get consistently good orders, we can get about 2-3 orders done an hour, sometimes 4 if you're getting really lucky. But with gas prices, with the wait time in the restaurant, with the driving to the restaurant and driving to the customer, it doesn't make sense to take a lot of these orders. And I don't care what customer says what, that's the fact of the matter. As the TikToker declines the orders in his DoorDash app, he receives a pop-up question each time asking him if he's sure he wants to decline it. The pop-up warns him that declining the order will make his acceptance rate drop. Yeah, that's a simple scare tactic that DoorDash does. Acceptance rate doesn't really mean much unless you're going for the higher programs, such as Top Dasher, which has literally less than no value, and the high pay order program, which again, still no value. But that doesn't bother the DoorDash driver. He says the declines the majority of orders coming through, and he cherry picks the ones he does deliver. Declining multiple orders does not result in penalization from DoorDash, he says. Yeah, DoorDash can't deactivate you for acceptance rate. That's part of being an independent contractor. DoorDash also doesn't like cherry picking, but they could suck it for all I care. When they care a little bit more about us and our well-being, then we'll try to care about them, but I don't think that's happening ever. He adds that drivers shouldn't be afraid to cancel orders. He is not concerned with being the top dasher because he would make less money if he accepted every small order, he says. First off, canceling orders and not accepting orders are two different things. Canceling orders is when you accept an order and then you unassign it. That's canceling. That's a big deal, and you shouldn't do that. Are there drivers that do that a little bit more than they should? Yes, and that's a problem. In fact, if you unassign too often, you lose access to the better programs, such as the large pizza program and the large order catering program, which if you don't know what those are, I made a video talking all about them. I'll leave it in the description. Feel free to check it out. And another thing most people don't consider is not just about making money, it's how much money is leaving. If I'm making $5 on an order and I'm spending $8 on gas, driving, everything else, it doesn't make sense to do the order. Not to mention the amount of time and opportunity cost that comes with taking a bad order. You don't have to be a top dasher to get enough schedule to make a full-time living with DoorDash, as long as you cherry pick and you're very picky about what you do, the TickTocker says. That's a fact. I was actually doing really well with this method for a while, and I was on DoorDash since 2018 when I started cherry picking a little bit more effectively. I ended up making almost twice as much money as I would if I was just going for it. He says he often delivers for both Grubhub and DoorDash at the same time and uses the same method of declining orders for both delivery services. He notes that once he accepts an order, though, he makes sure not to cancel it because that can result in penalization. You also can do this with Uber Eats, to be clear. I know he only mentioned Grubhub and DoorDash, but you can do this with Uber Eats as well. And yeah, try not to unassign. Unassigning can lead to penalization, contract violations. You can lose access to high-quality programs if you do too much. Are there times where you should unassign? Yes. But it takes a lot for me. The TickToker's video sparked debate among viewers. Some said they were surprised that the Dasher's method actually worked, while others said they'd rather go get the order themselves than wait for a delivery driver who doesn't want to deliver their order. Well, first off, I'm not sure that this method is all that surprising. It's been around for quite a while. And if you feel that the value of DoorDash isn't worth it to you, by all means, go get it yourself. You don't have to use the platform. You don't have to use DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats if you don't want to. Like, seriously. It amazes me something like this works. I don't like tipping for slow delivery and cold food. I'll go get it myself, one viewer commented. By all means, go. If you don't want it, don't pay for it. We get it. We don't use the services ourselves because we know this is how it is. Not to mention, it's a luxury service. There's going to be upcharges. There's going to be an expectation for a tip. I don't understand what the goddamn problem is. Paying $30 for a burger for a 45-minute wait and cold food, I'll just get it myself, another viewer commented. And literally no one's going to be like, oh man, that one customer was all upset because they had to pay extra for a luxury service. They said they will never use the platform again. Boo-hoo. Go get it. One viewer wrote, these services work great at motivating me to pick up the order myself, especially with how much it costs. I'll be honest with you. I feel exactly the same way. Because I know how much it costs to get it delivered, it takes a lot for me to use these apps myself. There was a promo recently, 60% off an order. That's what it took to get me to use their thing. Because it would genuinely cost less for me to use that than actually just do it. Oh, but what about the tip to the driver? Wouldn't that increase the cost? I will pay a driver long before I pay a corporation. Some viewers question the driver's logic, saying he was wasting gas while waiting for the right order to come in. Others question how he made any money. Okay, that's an interesting point to bring up because I know that there's a lot of drivers who like to wait in parking lots with the car running and all that stuff, and I agree with that point, by the way. So usually what I like to do is I like to keep busy while I am waiting for an order, either at home or I'm like in a parking lot, but I'm actually in the store just roaming around or doing something because A, I could get the exercise walking around rather than waiting in my car. That's number one. Number two, if I'm being more productive waiting, then it makes more sense to do that than just sitting in a car idly and wasting gas like that. The other concept of how they make any money, the fact of the matter is that they're probably not DoorDashers, so they really don't know how business works. He declines due to gas prices as his car is running idle, one user said. In reply to the comment, the driver shared that he drives a hybrid car and only uses electric energy while he's idling. I mean, that's good that he has an electric car, and that makes sense. I don't know, man. I feel like that's still something that's a little off for me. Also, him at the end of the video, why don't I make any money? Another user wrote. That guy is just a hater who has a job that keeps telling him he's getting promoted when he's not getting promoted, and everyone knows it, including him. And he's all upset that a DoorDash driver is making more than him. Other users shared the advice of how to improve DoorDash for both drivers and customers. As if DoorDash is gonna do right by anybody but themselves. Come on, let's get reality right. If you could bundle 3 or 4 orders and all sort of complement each other, you can maximize the small orders, one viewer suggested. The driver replied that DoorDashers started doing that to a degree. Yeah, that's called host and leech. So usually what would happen is where a stack stacked order would come in on DoorDash, one customer tips, and the other one is trash. And that would be 2 orders. Sometimes they do 3 and 4, depending on the market, but that is very rare. I have yet to see that personally. And not to mention, it takes the same amount of time. And sometimes the host and leech orders have you going in multiple different directions, which doesn't even make sense. I actually made a video talking all about stacked orders on DoorDash. I'll leave it in the description. Feel free to check it out. Would be cool if Dashers could send a counter offer to the customer. I bet lots of customers would agree to the higher price, someone else said. I understand where you're coming from, but with the way it works now, the way it's either accept or decline, I would say that idea is okay if we were actually getting paid the better offers. We're not. DoorDash isn't gonna pay out more. Customers always give me problems. Honestly, I don't think it's worth it. Others argue tips should be based exclusively on service. And in a perfect world, it would be. But the fact of the matter is it's not at this time. Because the companies do not pay us enough to work based on service. You do understand that a tip is based on how your service was. Why would I tip before the services were performed? And one user wrote. This person never tips any driver. He doesn't tip his waiters and waitresses. He always leaves bad reviews. And he probably hates his life more than he hates DoorDash. To that, the creator replied, consider it a bid on a job. If one person offered you $275 and another offered you $12 for the same job, which would you take? A lot of people say that, and I agree to a certain point, but since it is framed in the terms of a tip, I don't think anybody's ever going to change their mind on the subject. Nor should we try to, by the way. Let's go back to that first person for a second. Would I want to help that customer specifically, or would I want to wait for a customer who is kind-hearted, has an attitude of gratitude, who is going to probably rate me better because since they're already tipping well, that's the kind of person they are? Why would I want to make my services unavailable to that person, whereas the first person just tried to make everything harder for everybody and does not tip at all? This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. I think the Gigdoctor method of cherry picking is solid, and I appreciate that. And I think that a lot of customers are going to have a problem with what they saw because they want their food. They don't care about us getting paid. They don't care about our well-being, because at the end of the day, they never have. Should the corporation pay us better? Yes. Are they going to do anything about that? No. So we got to do what's best for our pockets. I think this is a great no tip, no trip PSA in a way, I guess would be the best way to put it. And any customer that has a problem with the way we operate does not need to use DoorDash. If they have a problem with it, they could sit on the bench and wait for their food forever, honestly. Do what's best for your financial stability, not what's best for the customer, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. That doesn't mean you give a poor quality service to those who you do accept. I'm saying never accept an order that is paying you less than what you're worth. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!